was 26 years old when a debt collector called me about a casino account I never opened, in a city I'd never visited, for $11,000 I never spent. That phone call was the first thread I pulled. By the time I finished unraveling it, I found out my own sister had been living inside my identity for 6 years. My name, my social security number, my credit, all of it funneled into online slot machines while I had no idea my financial life wasn't even mine anymore. This is that story. My name's Claire. I'm going to change some names in this story to protect people who don't deserve any more attention than they've already gotten. But everything else happened exactly the way I'm about to tell you. I have one sibling, my older sister, Megan, 7 years older than me. Growing up, Megan was the golden child, straight A student, homecoming queen, the one my parents bragged about at every family dinner. I was the quiet second kid who existed a little in her shadow. And honestly, for most of my childhood, I was fine with that. I loved my sister. I looked up to her. Megan moved out when I was 11. I didn't see the cracks starting to form because I wasn't supposed to. Parents shield the younger kid from that kind of thing. What I didn't know, what none of us fully understood until years later, was that Megan had started gambling online in her early 20s. Small stuff at first. Poker apps, sports betting, the kind of thing that seems harmless until it isn't. The first sign something was wrong came when I was 17. I tried to open my first bank account, a simple student checking account, and got denied. The bank teller looked confused and told me there was already an active account under my social security number 1. I supposedly opened 3 years earlier. I was 14 at the time. I hadn't opened anything. I remember standing there, genuinely confused, thinking it had to be a clerical error. My mom shrugged it off. Banks mess things up all the time, she said, so I let it go. I was a kid. I trusted the adults around me to have already checked. That should have been the moment everything unraveled. Instead, it got buried for almost a decade. Fast forward to when I was 23. I applied for my first car loan, denied. The reason on the report floored me. My credit score was in the low 500 seconds. I had never owned a credit card in my life. I'd never missed a payment on anything, because I'd never had anything to pay. I pulled my full credit report for the first time that week, and what I found made my hands shake. 14 open credit accounts, 2 personal loans, a repossessed car I never bought, and buried in the transaction history, over and over again, payments to online casinos, sports betting platforms, and something called a gaming credit line. I didn't gamble. I'd never even set foot in a casino. I called my mom in a panic, and there was a long pause on the line before she said the words that changed everything. I think you need to talk to your sister. I confronted Megan over the phone that same night. I expected denial. I expected an argument. What I got instead was silence, and then quiet crying, and then an admission that broke something in me permanently. Megan told me that when I was 14 and she was 21, freshly moved out and already deep in a gambling habit she couldn't control, she used my social security number, which she still had memorized from filling out family paperwork years earlier, to open a credit line under my name. She said she planned to pay it back before I ever needed credit of my own. That one account became 2, 2 became 5, 5 became 14. Over 6 years, every single one funneled into online gambling. She told me our parents had known for almost 2 years. They'd found out when a collections agency called our mom's house looking for me, and instead of telling me the truth, they'd quietly been trying to help Megan pay some of it down themselves, hoping to fix it before I ever found out. They chose to protect her from the consequences, instead of protecting me from the damage. I remember sitting on my kitchen floor that night, not crying, just staring at the wall, doing the math on how many opportunities had already quietly closed for me without my knowledge. Apartments I couldn't get, loans I'd been denied, a version of my adult life that had been rewritten by someone else's addiction, without my consent, for 6 straight years. I filed a police report the next morning. I know that sounds harsh to some people when it's family, but by that point this wasn't a mistake or a misunderstanding. It was 6 years of deliberate, repeated identity theft. And the debt was in my name, not hers. I spent the better part of the following year in dispute processes with credit bureaus, banks, and collection agencies, submitting police reports and identity theft affidavits to get the fraudulent accounts removed one by one. It worked, eventually, but it took 18 months before my credit report was fully clean again. Megan was never criminally charged. My parents begged me not to press it that far, and after a lot of thought, I agreed to let the debt dispute process handle it rather than pursue jail time for my own sister. But our relationship never recovered the way it was before. I don't hate her. I understand addiction is an illness, not a personality trait. But understanding why someone did something doesn't erase what it cost me. My parents and I are still working through the fact that they chose silence over honesty for 2 years. That one still stings more than Megan's part, if I'm honest. Today, my credit is finally clean. I own my name again, but I check my credit report every single month now, because I learned the hard way that trust isn't the same thing as safety even inside your own family. If you're watching this and something similar has happened to you, or you suspect it might be happening right now, check your credit report today. It's free. It takes 5 minutes, and it might save you years of cleanup like it cost me. Let me know in the comments, do you think I made the right call not pressing charges? And if this story hit you, hit subscribe, because there are a lot more stories like this one coming.